celebrating Susie's life. So today is a celebration of my little sister's life. I know it may seem a little informal, but this is what Susie wanted. She wanted to have just a very small group of people in California because her whole fan club is all over the United States, and of course everybody couldn't make it at the same time. But to plan something so large that we lose what it's about, and this is about my sister Susie. I want to start off by reading a poem that I think that I would love to think this is how Susie's feeling right now. So it says, I closed my eyes, felt the warm sun on my face. All the grief and pain was simply too hard to erase. I will try and get through it. I could smell the ocean in the air. I opened my eyes only to see you in the distance. I knew it was you there. I called out your name as I ran to you. My prayers had been answered. It was too good to be true. Beautiful as always, you smiled and held me near. This moment was happening. It was all perfectly clear. You laughed and said, I am here. Welcome to my beach in the sky. But you can't stay here forever, as only a little sister knows why. See, there is a place here on my beach in the sky that they call heaven, and that's where I live. I am happy and content and have no one else to forgive. I dance in the sun and play in the waves. I collect seashells as I watch the sun set and rise all of my days. I know no more hate, sorrow, or grief. I only know love and peace, and I stand firmly with my God in that belief. You have not learned what it takes. You can't be with me on my beach in the sky just because you think you have faith. You still have not learned. Go back to your world and do what you can do. Be kind and gentle to each and every man. Have a compassionate heart. Remember my words, as now we must part. Little things matter. Be the best you can be. Take great care of others as you would a seashell at sea. Be helpful and strong and never ask why. That's all it takes to reach my beach in the sky. Okay. Now I'm going to read. This is from my mom and my dad, who are elderly and fearful of COVID and things like that, so it's really hard for them to come all the way across the United States and feel safe about it. So they wrote, on Friday, July the 30th, 2021, the world as we knew it changed forever. Our beloved Susie departed this life. Although our hearts are filled with sadness, we rejoice in knowing she is out of pain and now with the angels and her granny. Those two were partners in crime, always getting into trouble, as you know, together. Susan had an infectious way about her that made one come away feeling better for having been with her. She was funny, joyful, perky, kind, beautiful, and strong. She had a good, caring heart and soul. She was the bravest of us all in her final days. Those we hold most dear never truly leave us. They live on in the kindnesses they showed, the comfort they shared, and the love they brought into our lives. They are only a memory away. Susie, we love you, and we will love you forever in our hearts, Dad and Mom. Huh? Okay. All right. So the next one is from my big brother. Most of you know there's Bill, Susie, and me, and that's it. And as he writes in here, we traveled a lot in our lifetimes, moving from place to place as young kids, and so we kind of needed each other a lot. Glad that we weren't only children. That would have been hard. When growing up, my sisters and I had a different lifestyle than most. We grew up in the military family, always moving from place to place. Even though sometimes we didn't want to admit it, we were each other's best friends, as often as we didn't know anyone else. Susie, with her spunky personality, would always meet friends first. It didn't matter where we lived, people wanted to know her and be around her. She was positive, upbeat, fun, mischievous, athletic, high energy, and beautiful. Everyone wanted to be with Susie. Susie was very caring to others and always tried to help anyone in need. There are so many memories I have of my sister that I will cherish forever, and my little sister will always live in my heart. I love you, Susie. Bill. Okay, so is anyone else ready to read? Do you want to read it, Allison?
So this is from Wendy Dixon. Wendy Dixon Faria?
Yeah.
Faria? So just by way of introduction, my name is Allison, and Jack and I, we went to the same high school that Susie went to. And so we've known Susie for a very, very long time. And so Wendy, who wrote up something for this, also went to high school and was a lifelong friend of Susie's. So, friends and family, my heart has been so heavy to learn that Susie is no longer with us. I assume her bright spirit was out there somewhere. Doesn't seem possible my childhood friend, with all of her gung-ho attitude, vim and vigor, zest for life, would have left this earth earlier than we could imagine. Her smile lit up a room. She was a positive force, if not an instigator. LOL. And the first to say, yeah, let's go. If someone else came up with an idea to seize the day, yes, she took charge of our fun department and was truly a loyal friend. I see now how Facebook connected high school friends years ago, and Susie didn't Facebook and we had no cell phones when I saw her last in California. One or two home moves and we were lost friends. I regret not trying to find her, as my memories are full of happy times in our lives. Whatever the fraction chosen in our personalities, that makes us all unique. And I'd like to think I picked up some of Susie's personality as well as incorporated it in forming mine along those impressionable years together. And I will carry a part of her with me always as who I am. Oceans of love to you all, your Wendy. And, you know, since I'm up here, I just want to say a few words. You know, what has been said about Susie and what will be said about Susie today is just more of the beauty and energy and spirit and fun and vivaciousness and adventurousness of Susie. That is what I know of her. One of my favorite stories is that Debbie and I, we made our way to Telluride, Colorado to go and see the Grateful Dead a long time ago. And Susie, of course, flies in on a private plane, right, into Telluride. Like, this is a little box canyon in the middle of nowhere. And she, you know, lands and like, oh, here's a ticket. Susie, come on, let's go and have fun. And then she proceeds to tell us about how the pilot let her fly the plane on her way there in the little two-seater Cessna or whatever it was. And so, I mean, I love that story because it kind of sums up, you know, Susie's life in so many ways. And but I know Susie predominantly through Debbie. And Debbie has been a friend of mine for a long time now, and a dear, dear friend of mine. And what I know about Debbie and Susie is how much they loved each other and love each other, because that doesn't go away. And how much the Eash family, Paula and Joe and Bill, how much they all love Susie and went on her journey in the dark times and then the bright times together. And that just will never end. And I hope that that love just comforts all of you going forward.
So this is Dee Dorsey. She's from Florida. I was told by Debbie that she was a good friend of of Susie's to the very end. They were. So I'll read this. Hi everyone, my name is Dee, and I was a friend of Susie's from Panama City Beach. We had an 8-year friendship, and one I will always remember. Sue came into my life when I was really down. I met her at the pool of the apartment complex I had moved to, and she was a ray of sunshine in my life. We did everything together, called each other multiple times a day, and had deep conversations, many of which we didn't agree with each other. But the best thing about our friendship was no matter how much we disagreed, we were always fine by the end of our conversation. She helped me as much as I tried to be there for her and help her. We joined Red Cross and took classes together, from logistics to driving the emergency response vehicle. We were deployed to New York for Hurricane Sandy, and everyone would have been so proud of Sue. During that 3-week period, she was so kind to the people that were hit so hard during that disaster. She was really in her element. Susie loved my children and always asked about them. After I moved back to Kansas, Sue talked to my grandchild daily. It was the highlight of both of their days. She loved my dog like it was her own. I miss her daily. God placed her in my life for a reason. I went through every emotion you can think of, but the one that is most important to me now is that she is no longer in pain. I've experienced a near-death experience, and I can tell you I was at peace while there. I know she is too, and I know she is looking down on us with my dog, Sammy, at her side, saying to all of us, love you, mean it. I love you, Sue. Peace be the destination. God bless you and your beautiful family forever. I will never forget you.
Yes. Yeah, you can see it moving. Go ahead.
But there's no numbers.
No, it's okay. You just go ahead.
So hi, I'm John Lee. I met Susie on Shoal where they lived in San Mateo, and
You wrote it. But
well, no, but you
rewrote it for me.
rewrote it for me. Thank you. So I'm just going to read what I wrote here, and that is Susie is absolutely one of a kind. Beautifully put together, she was truly unprejudiced to a fault. Everyone from a beggar to a king, a rainbow of colors. She's genuinely open to hearing everyone out. We met a few living legends, and they were all drawn to her authentically and wanted to be in her orbit. I mean, some of the people that we were talking about was like John Lee Hooker, Etta James, the Doobie Brothers. I mean, a whole host of different people, and we'd come across these people and they invited her in. I mean, not like hi, but like really wanted her to come along. So that was, it was a beautiful thing about her. When we were in Paris, and kind of so we're in Paris, and we go into the Savoy Hotel, which is a beautiful hotel, and she says, "I won't stay unless they play Frank Sinatra the whole time, or else I'm leaving." You know how Susie is.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, okay. So I walk over to the piano player and I said, "Listen, your girlfriend over here is going to leave unless you only play Frank Sinatra over here. This is a really nice place." And so he says, "Oh, really?" And so he goes, "Go over to that guy right over there, who was the manager of the hotel, and tell him what you told me, and then we'll get you set up." And so I went over to the manager of the hotel. They got a private table for us. They set up in Sommelier. They brought champagne. It turns out that this was Frank Sinatra's personal piano player at the Savoy, and he was so happy to play this that they sent over all this stuff for us. So it's like weird things like this would just naturally happen, and it's hard to explain. And so I'll tell another little quick story. So we were in the south of France at the time, and the Monaco Grand Prix is going on, and so McLaren had just won. Zach Brown is the managing director. He's in this really nice, suit and everything. And Susie goes, "Oh, I really like your suit." And this is the guy who just won the Monaco Grand Prix from Mercedes. Everyone's like trying to get around, and so he invites her in, and we hung out, and we were back in the paddocks and everything. So just little things like that, being around her, it was always, it's kind of, when tell one other little quick story about the south of France. So we were down. A friend of mine had access to the Palais de Festival, where the film festival is, and we were invited to this party down on the beach. And we go in, and there's all these like stars and people and all this stuff around. And at the time, that's when like Duran Duran was really big. And so Simon Le Bon, while I'm with her, comes up and says, hey, I'd like to dance with you, and kind of hitting on her, all these different things. And she's like, not even paying attention because Lenny Kravitz was there, and she's like focused on him and wanted to hang out. This is before he kind of broke though, so she didn't even know who he was, but just the other guy wanted to go where the energy and fun was. So anyway, those things like that. Let's see. I don't know. There's so many different moments. She really was an authentic beauty. Some of the things she had no idea of some of the people that she was around, but she actually had this strange knack for like finding the authentic. And it doesn't really matter who you were, as long as it was like real. So that was really nice. And anyway, I just want to say that Susie is forever in my heart and soul. I love her. She's amazing. That's it.
I'm gonna read something from Patty Hoberg, but just on your note, a couple of things that happened with Susie that just in that same. She got up on stage with War when War was singing Lowrider, and she played the maracas the whole time in front of a huge audience. They asked her to go on tour with her. When I was with her and we went to a comedy club, what's his name, Dice Clay hits on her and asks her to his house. And she's like, why, you got some new technology or something? I mean, it just goes on and on and on with her. It seemed like everywhere you were, she, brought it out in people. And well, Patty Hoberg was friends with Susie from the 5th grade to the 8th grade. And then they hooked up back together again and at Carol Ann's. Carol Ann's mansion. And so they were, that was how many years ago? Maybe 20 years ago? So from the 5th grade, they kept in contact at all our moves all across the country. So Patty writes, I met Susie first day of school, 5th grade. Both of us standing in line. She was wiggling her foot because they hurt from her new shoes. She invited me to her home for lunch the very first day, and I went every day after that. We had a school project that we got some mice, Sniffles and Renner. The mice would escape and go to the photo room at school. And because they were so popular, they made it into the school newspaper. She is basically just going to give little spits of memory of little things that they did, basically. Paula used to pack all of us kids in the van and take us to the base at El Toro. The base was surrounded by orange groves, and she would stop and say, quick, get out and collect as many oranges as you can. And we did, as fast as we could. Once we climbed up on the school roof at night, and the police helicopter had to shout us down. I spent so much time in Eash's attic, which is where my brother used to have his band, and it was in his closet. It was the weirdest house in California, but in his closet we built stairs, and then you go up into his closet, and there was the whole area where you could have a whole band up there, which we did. We had a lot of fun there. And we would sing Meow Meow commercials while Bill played the drums. Later in life, we got together and drove to New York City. So see, this is much later. They got together and remained friends their whole lives. And they ran out of gas on the New Jersey Turnpike in the middle of the night. That would be typical. I moved, Susie moved, but we always stayed in touch. Became huge Sabercat fans, which some of you know why that is. Spent the night in the Carol Ann's mansion, drinking Crystal champagne. I could go on and on with so many happy memories. Besties for life. I will see you again soon. I love you, mean it. And now that I'm thinking about it, she actually wanted me to play. Totally forgot. So that was actually just 2 months before Susie passed away, and so she had called Patty and left that message, and then Patty left it for me to listen to forever. And I didn't have any messages, but so that was again from the same girl I just read about. So is there somebody that wants to go next? Okay.
Everybody knows me. I think I'm Debbie's husband. Sometimes she doesn't say that, but anyway. I'm reading about from Dwight. Dwight was probably the one I knew the most of all of Susie's friends, because we went sailing. We went to Mexico. We went to Greece. We went to all these different places. Then he was a hotel manager up in Mendocino for quite a while, so we were up there a lot with Susie. So he wrote, Susie was my adventure buddy. Our first date was sailing around Angel Island in a blinding fog. When then sailed San Francisco Bay more times than I can remember. Our sailing trips were to Mexico and the Caribbean. We also visited Mexico several times, La Paz, Cabo San Lucas, Puerto Vallarta.
Please enter your password, then press pound.
Visited Mexico several times, La Paz, Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. We road tripped half the country, from California to Colorado, whitewater rafting down the Arkansas River, over a 14-foot waterfall. I'll never forget her face in Alaska. We backpacked the Chillicothe Trail out of Skagway, flew 50 feet over the Mendenhall Glacier in a bush plane, had the most incredible day watching 150 humpback whales surround our boat in Glacier Bay, so close we looked eye to eye at them. Had a grizzly bear and her cubs cross the road in front of us on our way to home from dinner. We spent the week together on a pot farm in Mendocino. She smiled all week. Yes, Susie was my adventure buddy and very much loved. I hope she is remembering the good times we had and shared. Love, Dwight. Anyway, we will miss Susie. I know that. Even through all the bad times and the good times, I know it's still a loss. I have a quick story. So, and I think Joel was with us on this. So we decided to go. Susie, I think it was Joel, Debbie, and my two of my friends, which was Dan and Linda, out on the boat. We're going to go out salmon fishing. Calm day. We leave Sausalito. We're going to go out because Susie wanted to go fishing. I think how this all started. So anyway, we go out in the boat. We're fishing along, and the boat's it was my old boat, so it was about that size. So there's 6 people on it, right? So there's an engine cover on the back, and I'm driving the boat, and my friend is a highway patrolman. So Susie's on the back engine cover, lights up the joint, right? And Debbie goes, "Susie, he's a cop!" And I swear to God, her face turned from. So, and he didn't care whether she smoked pot, but it was so funny. Yeah, it was hilarious. I've never seen her where her face was like, "Oh my God!" Anyway, we'll love her and miss her, and that's all I have to say. So.
Well, I'm Tina, and I know Susie through Mark and Debbie, who I've known for about 25 years, I think.
Yeah.
And this is from Beverly Bundeginnis, a friend from Southern California from the 6th to the 8th grades. She says, when I close my eyes, I can still see Susie with her perfect surfer bangs created by her comb that she would carry in the back pocket of her dittos. She was always happy and smiling, wondering what kind of mischief we could get into. After her older brother and sister turned us on to Lynyrd Skynyrd and Ted Nugent, we decided we wanted to go to that concert. We were only allowed to go if a parent went. And our friend Lisa had a mom that was going to go through a divorce and was happy to take us. We're about 13 or so. Our only mode of transportation was the bus, so we took that to Anaheim and got our tickets. Susie somehow lost her ticket when we got there, and Lisa's mom snuck Susie in. It was a festival seating at Anaheim. Lots of hippie-looking people on beach towels and blankets. I don't think we ever had seen so many people together at one time. I can still see Ronnie Van Zant's large white piano on stage, and when Freebird came on, we didn't realize it would be one of his last concerts, trying to find a lighter or a match to light when the lights went down. School dances, roller skating, slumber parties, and maybe some late night toilet papering were usually on our agenda. Knott's Berry Farm and Disneyland were our favorites. So sad that I didn't get a chance to see her again since our last meeting when we were 18. It was not so easy to stay in touch back in those days as we both got older and she moved to the East Coast. We did reconnect when Facebook started rolling, and I treasure those notes and memories. Love you, dear Susie, and hope to meet up with you again in our big concert in the sky. Hugs and kisses. Sweet. Yeah, she's an incredible spirit.
And Joel. Oh, and I want to add
So I didn't prepare anything. It's kind of like Susie. A lot of times she just kind of flew by the seat of her pants. So I was married to her. We got married in '89, and of course, kind of knew from there it was going to be an interesting relationship because a hurricane was coming in, and so we actually had to move the wedding day up a day because the priest said he was leaving. So we had to do that. One story I was thinking about is we were going to visit her parents in Washington D.C. and Susie washed our clothes, and she had, I guess, dumped a whole box of washing powder in the washing machine. So when we were in Washington D.C., we were seeing some of the sights. It started raining on us, and so we were running to one of the places, and we looked down, and our pants were solid suds. So yeah, it was funny. There was a lot of stories like that with her. She was an interesting character. I feel privileged and honored to have known her, and I guess one of the biggest things she did is introduce me into the Eash family, which I really feel privileged to be part of that. Thank you.
I'm Joel Perchek. I'm a longtime friend of Susie for about 20 years or so. The first thing I was going to do was for her friend Mo. I don't know if anyone really even knows Mo. Mo was a friend of hers before I met Susie. They all lived in when they were in the Bay Area, and Norman Chatsky. It was like a little rat pack together. Before they all moved away. And I had found this, surprisingly, it was printed. It's back before people, did everything on their phone. But it was from Mo. She sent it to me and Susie too. But Susie was never about reading her email, so I'd actually printed a couple copies, and she really liked this too. It's kind of long, but because it's printed and I have to read for her myself, I'll skip the first part. I can pass this around if you want to read it. It's okay. So what it is, it's from George Carlin. Carlin, post 9/11. It's after his wife had died, and the first half is his normal rant about how times are changing. But it's very funny part at the beginning. But then it gets a little he's very eloquent at the end. So I'll skip down to the part where about this message. It says, remember to spend time with your loved ones because they're not going to be around forever. Remember to say a kind word to someone who looks up to you in awe, because that little person soon will grow up and leave by your side. Remember to give them a warm hug next time you see them, because it is the only treasure that you can give with your heart that doesn't cost a cent. Remember to say I love you to your partner, your loved ones, and most of all, mean it. A kiss and embrace will mend hurt when it comes from deep inside you. Remember to hold your hands and cherish the moment for somebody, that person that will be there again. Give time to love, give time to speak, give time to share precious thoughts in your mind. Love is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take your breath away. Here it goes. People into your life come for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. When you figure out which is which, you know exactly what to do. When someone is in your life for a reason, it is usually that you need to express it outwardly and inwardly. They have come to assist you through difficulty, to provide you with guidance, support, aid you physically, emotionally, and spiritually. They may seem like you're a godsend, and they are. They are the reason you need them to be. Then, without any wrongdoing going on your part or inconvenient time, this person will say or do something to bring the relationship to an end. Sometimes they die, sometimes they walk away, sometimes they act up out of force to take a stand. But we must realize that the need has been met, our desire fulfilled, their work is done, the prayer you sent has been answered, and it's now time to move on. When people come into your life for a season, it is because it's your turn to share, grow, and learn. They may bring an experience of peace or make you laugh. They may teach you something you have never done. They usually give you an unbelievable amount of joy. Believe it, it is real. But only for a season. Lifetime relationships teach you lifetime lessons. Those things you must build upon in order to have a solid emotional foundation. Your job is to accept the lesson, love the person, and put what you have learned aside in all relationships and areas in your life. It is said that love is blind, but friendship is clairvoyant. Is there another person? Sorry, the other.
You can talk right now, but,
I can take a break
okay, that's fine.
before my part.
Okay.
Okay. And then
Yeah. So I cannot be trusted to do things correctly here. I skipped a page. So and the reason I it's somebody else's work, so I wanted to give them, to express them. So again, it's Wendy Dixon, and the page I skipped says, I've sent the photos. I sent the photos on the beach, and I have more I will gather and send to your parents. I was so lucky to have her as my friend, and in turn enjoy you and Bill and your parents both in San Francisco and your folks in the San Mateo house. We were all figuring out our 20s together. I appreciate the way your family took me in with you kids over on the other coast, far from home. Susie had a huge heart and never batted an eye when she insisted my dog Stormy and I stay with she and Donald Ray and her Shelby Chevis for a month. While we were waiting on our own apartment, her kindness and generosity towards a friend is just the way she was, always. Room in her home, always time in her day to make the most of it. We are all made up of the people and experiences in our lives, and whatever the fraction chosen in our personalities that makes us unique. And I like to think I picked up some of that from Susie's personality, as well as incorporated it, forming mine along those impressionable years together, and will carry a part of her with me always as who I am. Oceans of love to you all. Wendy. Thanks for the redo.
No, I'm going to go.
Okay, so this is okay, so yeah, as I said, I met Susie about 20 years ago. It was through Mo. Mo, her name is Maureen Giannotto. What's sad is she also, right at the moment, is in hospice. She about 2 months before Susie found out, Mo had found out that she had lung cancer. They're both very good friends, but it kind of lost touch. And I was usually the one in between, send messages, you know, how was Susie doing, how was Mo doing, because they, for a while, they never really connected too much. But when Susie found out about Mo, she actually didn't talk to her until after she found out that she had cancer, and then they both finally didn't get to talk to each other. But and then it was surprising Susie passed much faster. But Mo is, right, sadly enough, pretty bad. She's won't be around much longer. But she's in Oregon right now with her husband. The sadder part for Susie was that she didn't tell too many people, and a lot of people weren't able to come to visit her. Mo was quite the opposite. Is totally on Facebook and everywhere. Everybody, you know, knew about it, came to see her. But Susie, I still think probably a lot of her friends never even were up on what was happening when it was happening. So anyway, the short little story for how I met Susie. We were. It was when she was moving from where she was. I think it was in Mountain View to go back to Virginia in Reston. So I had gone there to help her moving things from her storage, and we immediately hit it off because there was so much in common. We both are from Virginia. I went to T.C. Williams High School. She always hated when I say remember the Titans, but they're arch rivals, her high school and mine. We also both, was living in Reston. My parents lived in Reston. We both are military brats. We both are diehard Redskin fans. And we're both, I think I'm like 3 months older than her. Then, so she moved back to Virginia. I came back, I think, once or twice to visit her in Virginia. Then she moved back here again to San Jose. That's when I spent the most time with her for many years when she was living in San Jose. We would do like everything together, sailing. I mean, literally, we were sailed right under the bridge. Yeah, many concerts, just so many things, sporting events. Watched almost every Redskin game together. Even when she was in Virginia, just every Redskin game we would always be calling, talking. That was probably one of her biggest loves. And the Sabercats. I went to so many Sabercat games with her, and we went to the when they won the championship. She had came back from Florida. But anyway, yeah, I did that. So she was in San Jose many years, and then she moved to Panama City. During those years, I came back a few times, three times maybe over the years to see her in Panama City. She always missed California, but it was kind of sad. She really always wanted to come back, and she did. She made many trips back here to visit. We went with Debbie. We went many places around on her trips back, and then after Panama City, well, I mean, that's where she kept thinking someday she'd make it back here permanently, but it just never happened.
She's here now.
Yeah.
That's why she's here now.
She did.
She said, no, Florida.
She loved the bridge. Yeah, so Susie was always hard to communicate with, keep in touch. She was, her phone would always be, voicemail always clogged, never on Facebook. No. She never really wanted to get into technology, really was old school. One of the few people I know that still would only call you. Not many people get used to the phone ringing, but if it rang, it was usually Susie. Yeah, I tried to teach her many times about how to emails, all kinds of technology. She would just always block it out. She was, really from almost like another era. Like she wouldn't care too much about new movies. She really was into old movies. Jesus Christ Superstar, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Mary Poppins. She would, and music, Grateful Dead. So that's what I know her most loving. But she liked all music. We went to so many concerts. That's all I could say. There's she was like, if there was how'd they say, like when you open a dictionary, if there was a picture of what they say, the person that's the life of the party, that would be Susie's face. She always made everything just a trip, like just a nice adventure. Everything. She never a dull moment with Susie. I like probably everyone in her life. She'll be sorely missed, never forgotten. I love Susie. And did you want me to play the?
Oh, he has a video of Susie telling him that she has cancer, and it's just so Susie. If you guys want to hear it, it's she's not down. She makes it even funny. And this is what I experienced a lot when I was with her in her final days. So, and which I'm going to talk just a minute about, and then we're going to pop some champagne and play her swan song.
I just wanted to give you a heads up. I'm in the hospital. I have lung cancer. It's me. Anyway, I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do about it. It's in the biopsy. So far, they haven't told me what stage or what they are going to do for treatment. So, it doesn't look so good. I just thought I'd let you know that don't call me back tonight. It's hard to talk and breathe. I've already been talking to Norman. You know how that drains the hell out of you. Anyway, hope all's well with you. Quit smoking. I love you very much. Talk to you. Bye-bye. To replay this message, press 1. To delete, press 7. Saved. Saved message. Hey, Joe, it's busy. Listen, I do call you. Why? I know you wanted to talk, to talk. But I'm going to put the radio down now. Put her down on the phone. I'm not heavy around very much longer. For sure. Like, so, anyway, I just wanted to say goodbye. I love you. To replay this message,
I know it's hard to hear, but I have to say she's probably the bravest person to the end. I got to Florida the day before she got out of the hospital because I, of course, wanted to be right there to spend that time with her, and I cherish the fact that I got to do that and say goodbye and tell her how I felt. But funny stories, Susie was always up like that, just like she said, Norman draining the hell out of her, whatever, the talking thing. But she wanted to go as soon as I got there. She was like in her rally. What they say is a lot of times when people are dying, they rally and they go like, hey, let's do this, let's do that. And she hadn't done anything for months, years before that. She was pretty much in the COVID state and just stayed in her house. And she didn't have a shot, and, didn't know where to go. She wasn't driving, so she had a lot of just staying at home. And so she said, let's go to, I want to go to Dairy Queen. So she's got her walker. She's on her walker, but she lost so much weight that all of her sweatpants and stuff were like way too big for her. So I'm having to hold her pants up as we're walking, and she's doing the walker. And we get to the car, and she gets in the car, and we're having a great old day. And she's got these baggy pants on. We get into the Dairy Queen, and I'm trying to hold my purse, do a whole bunch of things at once. And one of them is hold up her britches, right? So I'm holding up her pants, and I reach over and do something, and all of a sudden her pants flop to the ground, right? And Susie goes, "Oh!" And she's like, "Debbie!" And so I come over and I pull her pants back up, and there's a guy standing in front of her, and his eyes are like this big. And Susie goes, "I guess he probably thought it was kind of funny I was wearing diapers." It was just all of these things that we just giggled and giggled about, stuff like that. And then we'd go out and we'd have to pass the pool every time we'd go out of the hotel. And she had her walker, and she'd say, "Hey, look what I can do." And she'd go, 1, 2, 3, 4. And she'd put it down. So she did this 3, 4, 5, 6, and so I was like, let's see if you can do 10. We started getting up there, and so we were doing that. And then she would see these little kids in the pool. There was like 5 little kids, all from the same family. They were probably from 3 to 8 years old. And she goes, "Hey, this is just how she was. You kids having fun?" And then the little kids were looking at her like, she had no hair, and she was on her walker, and she's like, and they look at her, but she was the same personality that she always was. And she was like, "Hey, I know a game. Do you guys ever throw coins in the pool and then dive for them?" And they looked at her and they were like, "I think we did that." One of them said something, and she goes, "Debbie, give me some coins." So instantly she didn't have anything. So I reached in my purse, and she took the coins and she threw them in the pool, and they just went crazy. They were having so much fun. It was like the best thing ever. And so every time we passed the pool, she would talk to them and ask them how cold it was and how long they'd been out there. And she just had this conversation with them. And then the last one was, we went to, she had to have chicken fried steak, because my granny used to cook chicken fried steak when we were younger, and we were trying to find it. And in Florida, they have that kind of food on the menu. And so we went to a restaurant for chicken fried steak, and as we were coming out, I went to go get the car because of her walker, and she had been sitting right outside the lobby, and there's a guy playing the guitar, right? And Susie's, just like John Lee said, she's authentically listening to this guy, and just, wants to know what his thing is, what's going on, It ended up that he was from another state. His wife ended up in the hospital, and he didn't have any transportation to get to the hospital to see her. Who knows? But of course, Susie listened, and then of course she turns to me and says, "Debbie, do you have some money?" And then she tells me his story, right? So that we're standing there is a threesome. She's telling me his story, and I give him the $20, and he wants to pray. So we stand there, and he says a prayer, and Susie's all in, holding the hands, and she's all focused on this whole situation, which she did often. Like you were saying, kings or beggars, it doesn't matter. Everybody gets the attention that they truly deserve. But those were the last pretty much. And we held hands. We had 2 beds, and we held hands and sang songs from our childhood. We shared a room for 17 years, and beds right next to each other in every configuration, depending on where we were living. And so we kind of reminisced back there and did that. But one of the songs that Susie, and I hope I'm not forgetting anything that I'm supposed to read or do. If I do, I apologize to whoever I'm forgetting. But her song is, do you want to, here, let me get it real quick. So, if you listen to the words of the song, it really does say it all. It's Susie's swan song. She's the one that picked it. She's the one that wanted us to play this. So this is going to be the end of the song, and then we're going to go out and spread her ashes under the Golden Gate Bridge. Let me see if I can get it so that it's loud enough. No, that's not it. That's not it. Okay. But that was Freebird from her concert.
And now the end is near.
Can you hear it?
So I face the final curtain. roads. I traveled each and every highway
Sparkling water or champagne?
and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway. More, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall, and did it my I've loved, laughed and cried. I've had my fill, my share of bruising.
We love you, Sister Susie.
As tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think
It is good
I
music.
did all that. And may I say, not
Such
in
a
a
cute
shy
picture of
way.
Donald Ray with Susie and Debbie.
Oh,
I don't think that's.
no, no,
Yeah, that's
Oh,
you.
is it?
So was the one bottom like
Yeah. Beautiful.
Well, I remember before I met you, they were like, "Oh, Susie, your boyfriend, or maybe you were engaged." They were like, "He looks just like Elvis Presley."
I mean, you know what? Her mom wanted us to have a child so bad together.
What a beautiful kid.
Gorgeous child.
of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. It was
You really made Susie happy. Cheers to Susie. The box. Oh yeah, the box. All right, so that's it. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Under the Golden Gate Bridge. Why are you here? We love you. See you on the next flight. Okay, we got here are your kitties. Susie's kitties. The kitties.
What do you want to do with the reef?
We're gonna throw it in right now. You can do that, Donald. Toss it over.
Hi, Susie.
Can you film the reef in the water?
Till we see
Love
you
you,
again.
Susie.
Till we meet again.
Yes, that's right.
And here's it. You guys want to just say I